너한테 놀림받는 것도 괜찮지만 에이 근데 너의 남자가 되는 게 펄 좋지 물론 너의 남자친구는 맺지 지고 싶지 않았어 졸업사진 내 상처가 다 묻다면 너랑 사귈 수 있을까 넌 아름답고 귀한 딸난 우울하고 못된 아들 사랑의 성격 중요한다
Excusing myself from the table, I made my way to the balcony, my pulse racing with every step. The cool night air greeted me as I stepped outside, and there he was, leaning against the railing, his face illuminated by the moonlight. "You're late," he said, his smirk. "You're reckless." I back, folding my arms over my chest. "And you're beautiful," he countered, closing the distance between us in a few strides. "Especially when you're mad at me." Before I could respond, his hands cupped my face, his, both tender and commanding. "I missed you," he murmured, his forehead resting against mine. "We just saw each other 2 days ago," I whispered, though my resolve was already crumbling. 2 days too long," he said, brushing against. "I don't care what your father thinks, Ryan. I'm not letting you go." "You say that like it's easy," I murmured, my hands resting on his chest. "It's not," he admitted, his voice raw with emotion. "But nothing about us has ever been easy, and I wouldn't change a thing." The weight of his words settled over me, and I realized that no matter how impossible our situation was, I couldn't imagine my life without him. "Me neither," I whispered, finally closing the distance between us as our Ina. That felt like both surrender and defiance. For this moment, at least, the rest of the word didn't matter. Filled with all the emotions we couldn't speak out loud. When we finally pulled apart, Jimin's eyes searched mine, a rare, flickering behind his confident facade. "We can't keep doing this forever," I whispered, the weight of our secret relationship down on me. "One day, my father will find out, and it won't end well for either of us." Jimin's jaw tightened, his hand gently brushing a strand of hair from my face. "Then let's end the secrecy," he said softly. I stared at him, my heart pounding. "You can't be serious. He'd never approve of us. You're his enemy." "And yet I'm the man who loves his daughter more than anything in this world," Jimin countered, his voice steady. "I'm not afraid of him, Ryan. I'm only afraid of losing you." This sincerity in his words left me speechless. Jimin, the man who could command an entire room with a single glance, was laying his heart bare for me. You don't know what you're asking for, I said, my voice barely above a whisper. I know exactly what I'm asking for, he replied, his hand slipping into mine. I'm asking for a life with you. No more hiding, no more stolen moments. A tear slipped down my cheek, and Jimin caught it with his thumb. You deserve more than this, Ryan, more than secrecy, more than fear. Let me fight for you. The door to the balcony creaked open, and my heart leapt into my throat. My father stepped out, his expression unreadable, as he took in the scene before him, me standing so close to Jimin, our hands intertwined. Ryan, my father said, his voice calm. Step away from him. I hesitated, frozen, but then Jimin's hand tightened around mine, grounding me. No, I said, surprising even myself with the strength in my voice. I won't. My father's eyes narrowed, his gaze shifting to Jimin. Do you have any idea what you've done? What this means? Jimin straightened, his shoulders squared. I know exactly what it means, and I'll accept whatever consequences come my way. But I won't let you dictate who she can love. The tension was, but I refused to back down. Father, I love him, I said, my voice steady. And I won't let you take that away from me. For a moment, my father said nothing, his expression hard as stone. Then, to my astonishment, he sighed, the weight of years seeming to settle on his shoulders. You're just like your mother, he said quietly, his voice tinged with both pain and admiration. She was just as stubborn when it came to what or who she wanted. I blinked, startled by the sudden shift in his tone. Father! He looked at me, his expression softening. If this is truly what you want, Ryan, then I won't stand in your way. But know this, he said, turning to Jimin. If you ever hurt her, I'll make you wish you'd never been born. Jimin inclined his head, his respect evident. Understood. Relief flooded through me as my father walked back inside, leaving us alone once more. You did it, I said, my voice trembling with disbelief. No, Jimin corrected, pulling me into his arms. We did it. From that moment on, our love was no longer a secret. The road ahead wasn't easy. There were alliances to navigate, trust to build, and enemies too. But we faced it all together. Years later, as we stood on the balcony of our own home, Jimin's arms wrapped around me. I couldn't help but smile. You still look stunning, darling, he murmured, brushing against temple. And you still don't look too bad yourself, Mr. Park, I replied, laughing softly. Despite everything, we had found our happiness together.